And I want to start with you, Alida and Miriam, because your sons are all grown up already. And today is more for you, looking back to your journey for you. Please tell us how old your sons are and what they're doing today. Miriam?
Hi there. My son is 25 now. He's studying marine engineering and is serving his apprenticeship or internship, as it's called.
Thank you. And Alida?
My son is 28 and he's an environmental consultant / specialist. So also in the field of environmental business.
Wow. I mean, that's quite amazing. And I want to take you back to the younger years because at the moment they've got such bright futures, and that was not the case many years ago. So I want to ask you, Alida, your son, Abra, has been struggling with reading since grade 2 already. And you started to have great help in grade 7. So tell me, what difficulties did he experience, and how did this kind of 5-year struggle impact on Abram and also you as his mother?
Yeah, it was a tough time, I must admit. I think in grade 2, I realized that he's battling to distinguish between letters and sounds, and he really wasn't reading well. So the school actually called us in and said to us that we need to put him in a special class, which at that stage I had him tested, and his verbal IQ was well above the normal, although his written IQ was very bad. And then I decided I'm going to try something else, but it wasn't easy. We then went through the school psychologist who tested him, and they proposed that we do remedial education, and he hated it. He really hated it. He was not happy to go to those classes. He was complaining that it's repetitive. He's complaining that they think he's dumb and things like that. So it was very hard. And I think the hardest part for me was that he actually came to me one day and said to me, "Mum, why am I different? Why am I not like the other kids?" And that broke my heart. And that's when I started my journey to look for something better, something else.
Wow. So 5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And Miriam, in contrast, you had no inkling that Amiruddin was struggling with learning until the age of 10. And it took you even longer to discover that he just couldn't read. I know you said he was a busy boy, but you didn't know that he was struggling so much. Tell me, sorry, almost done. Tell me how it felt when you first discovered that he was struggling so much and your journey towards finding a solution.
I found it precarious that I constantly got these negative feedbacks from the schooling he was at, but he spent most of his life or growing years with me on the road. So I was teaching him and then submitting his things back to school, and there was never issues. And I noted that he had a very high level of intelligence and interaction. Yet when it came to physical schooling in Johannesburg, there was this constant negativity going on around him. I couldn't put the two things together. I had a 6-year-old that would skip at a yacht, and I had this child that was doing all kinds of phenomenal things, but I kept getting all these complaints about him being dysfunctional at the normal conventional schooling. So I was also told, you've got to put him in remedial, and it didn't resonate what I knew of this child who's been on the road with me all his life from before he was born to this person that they're trying to tell me he is. And I decided to step back from my work and go through the process of finding out for myself what is wrong with this child. Why is this going on? And I realized that phonetically he wasn't able to do his phonics when he was reading. And it just said to me something else was wrong, that this child was not remedial. And I then got the department involved, and I said to the principal that he's going to stay with you even if he grows beard with you, but he's going to learn to integrate and be able to work and live with people, because the world's not going to change for him. He needs to find a way to work with this world. And I kept him there, and I said, even if you repeat him and repeat him, he is staying in this primary school. And then after that, I got the department to then recognize, after that, tested him that his IQ was 139,
Sure.
that he's actually academically advanced, but he had dyslexia, he had signs of dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and all these other things. But otherwise, he was a functional person. And
Yeah.
the department then assisted me. Besides, his primary school went through blocks, which gave him the grounding. And that grounding taught him that, that
Miriam,
yes.
I'm going to stop you there because you're jumping ahead to another question. Can I
Okay.
park you there? I think we
Certainly.
know that it's been a tough, huh?
Yeah, extremely.
Knowing
Yeah.
that you've got this really intelligent child, but he's just not able to blossom the way that he should.
Or
And
the way
we're going to get the blossoming later on. Yeah.
yes.
The way that he's capable of.
Yeah.
Your frustrating journey. And Laura, you don't have a less frustrating journey. With Sorrel being one of a twin, and you said that you already suspected from a really young age, but that it was not developing as it should, but you had to wait for the school to really take note. And that even then you were kind of told that, yes, they can assess him, but it's up to you to get him help. What went through your mind at this time? And explain the journey you went through to understand why he was not progressing with all the interventions you tried. You're muted, Laura.
Thank you. Unfortunately, our journey is very similar to what the others have said. I noticed because I have twins, very early on that my son was very different than my daughter, even in kindergarten. And I told the school in first grade, something's wrong. And they said, oh no, it's too early. And then by the middle of first grade, they said, yes, we have a problem. And then it's all on the parent to even like testing is all out of pocket. And where do you test and what kind of test? And initially he was screened for dyslexia. And then it's like, okay, well, now what do we do? That's all on the parent to find a program. And we did the gold standard Orton Gillingham phonics-based program. And a year into it and a lot of money, he wasn't progressing. And then the tutor said, well, I think maybe he doesn't have dyslexia. And then so again, it's on the parent. Well, why isn't he progressing? And I found out that he had a visual processing disorder. And similar to the other kids, his IQ was very, very high. His phonological awareness was 99th percentile. And still, there was nothing, like there was no program for him. And we went through so many programs, and it wasn't until, gosh, I think fourth grade. He's currently just entered sixth grade when we finally found something that the end of fourth grade, that started to change everything and his ability to read. So it was a very, very hard process.
I'm going to remain with you for the next question.
Okay.
Tell me your son's frame of mind by the time you finally find something that worked. And what about the program actually motivated you to give Antarel to give it a last go? What made it different from the other things you've tried?
Well, you don't know when you start because everybody says this is the one that's going to work, and we went through many. And so I heard it many times, but it was the only program that I found that was really scientifically based and targeting where his deficits were. And I didn't have anything else to try. Sorrel was always just a very hard worker. He would work even though he was making very little gains. And I always just told him, it's just a matter of we have to find the right program, and that one wasn't the right one. And so he would get discouraged, but at the same time, he really believed me when I said, we will find it. We will figure it out. Now he has the benefit of retrospect and being able to see like, yeah. And even now he'll light up and he'll be like, oh my God, I just read that. Did you see that? you know, things that a year ago he couldn't read.
You couldn't do. Miriam, you did a similar program, the same program, maybe it's a slightly different setup. Tell us what improvements that you see with Miruddin the first year of doing the program. What impact did this have on him and on you as his mum going through all of this with him?
He became more confident. He was not afraid to speak his mind. I saw the fear leaving his eyes because he was sort of panic-stricken when it came to having to go to school or exams, and just going, knowing he was going Monday, Wednesday, Friday down to Kempton Park. It kind of gave him a place of, I belong here. And that encouraged him to even work harder. He would challenge himself. I know so many things in sequence. I can now do 20 items in sequence. And he kept on challenging himself. So the confidence grew dramatically attending the program. And even his desire to just sit in libraries, just to go to a library or a bookstore. He can't read it properly, but he wants to touch the books he opens. Before he was fearful, he was so apprehensive, he wouldn't go in because of the books. Now it's different. You've got to tell him you already bought one.
Wow. That's a change, huh?
Yeah, an enormous change.
An enormous change. And how did that make you feel?
That it was all worth it. That it was all the stuff and struggle and the faith and belief and trust he had in me and I in him made it all worth it.
Thank you, Miriam. Alida, and I'm going to also ask you about Abraham's progress. Not only during the progress, but I know you updated us constantly with how he's doing now and everything that's happening now, a year after, 2 years after, 3 years after. So tell me a little bit about his continued progress after he's already completed the program. What did you see? And did you expect all of that, that he would achieve to the level that you described at the beginning of this evening?
Absolutely not. I think I'm very proud of the child that is, or the man that he's become now. I can't say child anymore, but I think for us parents, he will stay a child. He completed his master's degree in 2022. He did his honors. He went from strength to strength. I think we stopped the program when he was in grade 9. And I think, as you say, when I updated Susan every time, his average kept on climbing every year. He got through matric with very good marks. And then there's a subject in the first year of university that you need to read a certain amount of words and with a certain amount of comprehension. And he was so excited when he phoned me after that. He was very, very scared because obviously I think there's always that confidence in terms of when I know I need to read something, I don't think it ever goes away. And as Miriam was saying, he's now also making jokes about it. And he went to this subject, and when he phoned me, he said, "Mum, I made it with flying colors." He read, I think if I remember correctly, you need to read 207 words per minute with a 98 or 95% comprehension. He read 372 words per minute with 100% comprehension. So yeah, it is absolutely amazing. And I keep on being astounded by him, because the other day he had an interview with a guy who was also going to work for them. And this guy actually used the fact that he's dyslexic as an excuse. And he said, "I can't do this because I'm dyslexic." And my son was so upset. He said to him, "Why do you use it as an excuse? It's actually a blessing," because I think, it sounds like a cliche when you say that these kids are intelligent. They're not remedial kids. They're not kids that can't do this. They just got some kind of different way of looking at the world. So yeah, I'm very proud of him. I think he's come a long way. It's been a hard journey. As I say, he sometimes he asked me questions that I didn't have answers for. And it impacted the family as well. At the end of the day, you need to make changes to your family routine. I always say to Susan, it's a little bit of a joke, but we've got a parrot, an African grey, And that BDPQ exercise that we do, my parrot do it to this day because we made sure he'd do it every day. The parrot heard it. So every now and then my parrot reminds me about BDPQ. But yeah, it's been a tough journey, but it's been all worthwhile. Every cent spent. I think the other two panelists also said that it's an expensive journey. We've also tried 2 other programs before this, and it was hard to convince him to go on a 3rd one, but it's worth it.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's very inspiring listening to you guys and seeing how proud you are of your sons. And Laura, you are still in this journey. So when you listen to these other 2 talking about their big men and what they've gone on to achieve, what goes through your mind when you listen to it?
It's just relief, confirmation, validation that, I mean, I'm already convinced, like the program, the tutor, I mean, it's changed everything about my son, how he sees himself, his self-esteem. And it's just really heartwarming to hear, the others being so successful and moving through it, and it now being something, of a distant experience. But yeah, I'm still in it. We're not quite done, but the light is at the end of the tunnel. It's the first program that ever had an end date. Most of these programs and philosophies say, oh, this is just a lifelong thing. You're always going to have this, and we're ending, within this calendar year. And that's scary. It's like, is it really going to be over?
Yeah.
We will miss it. Yeah.
And one day you'll come back to us in 10 years' time and tell us what he's done.
Yes.
We're excited about that one.
Yeah.
Yes. So guys, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your journeys with all our listeners. It's really been good talking to you and listening to you, and it's inspiring to me as well. It just reminds me why we do what we do. And as a closing thought, I would like to ask each of you, and we can start with Alida, then we can go to Miriam and then to Laura. What message would you like to share with parents who maybe are still in the shock stage in the beginning, or they might be in the searching and researching stage? They might be in the disillusionment stage where they're finding that nothing is working. Or they may just be at the beginning of their journey with this program. What would your message be to them? Alida?
I think the big thing for me is you as a parent, and I think Miriam also sort of alluded to it, you as a parent know your child. You know that your child is not remedial, or he's intelligent, or she's intelligent. And I want to say to you, don't give up, and don't listen to people that say to you, can't be fixed. I think that was the one thing that, and I was also where Laura is now, and I was saying, this is the 3rd time, is it going to work? But the type of classes, they enjoy the classes, and there is hope. There's definitely hope. Don't give up. Don't let, and I don't want to say teachers, I think maybe I should say, don't let schools and people tell you that you need to do the concession thing, and your kid is not good enough. And don't fit your child into that little box that schools give out as the end all and be all. Your child is different. That's the only thing. He's not dumb. He's not, he's different, and different in a good way. If he embraces it, he will make a success of it. So I think that's what I want to say to parents. Don't give up. You know your child.
Thanks, Alida. Miriam?
I would echo everything that Alida said. You know your child better than absolutely everyone and anyone. Don't let people tell you and what your child is. Forge that bond with the child. Become his very best friend. Be his very best parent. Be everything. Because there is solutions. All you need to do is just keep your wheel or your shoulder to the wheel and keep pushing. And as long as the child knows you've got his back and you're going to not let him down, he's going to make sure he proves to you that he can. It's possible. We are proof that it's possible. And it's hard work. It's a lot of money, lots of hard work, lots of tears, disillusionment, all kinds of things. But when your child knows that my mom's got my back, the sky's the limit and the end. Keep going.
Thanks, Miriam. And Laura, last but not least.
Yeah, I mean, it is such an intense journey, and I feel for you. And if you're here, then you're lucky, because this program works in a way that I've not seen anything else work. And one thing that's very different from the other programs I've seen is the ability for the program to adapt to your child, and the differences that it's not a one size fits all. Every child's unique, they need different things, and that adaptability is fueling the success, in my opinion.